Hello, everyone. Hey, I hope you're doing well. I hope you've had a great weekend, or I hope that you're having a great week so far whenever you're watching this video. All right, so today we are going to be talking about another element of art, and this is value. So, value is how light or dark a color is. So it's the lightness or darkness of a color. So value goes from the lightest to the darkest. It goes from white to black, no matter what the color is. You can have a value scale that looks like this. You can make a value scale using hatching and cross hatching. So these lines and more lines and more lines. You can make these little dots. More dots, more dots, more dots. It's called stippling. And there's lots of different ways to make value. You could even just add black or add white. So today we're going to be practicing working with value by creating shadows and highlights, just like here. So value can be used to create the illusion of form. So we're going to create some spheres today, and I'm going to show you how we use value to make those circles turn to spheres. All right, so let's do a little bit of practice before we get started with our spheres. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this up. So this is what we're doing today, but before we start that, we're going to do a little bit of practice with our pencils. So I'm going to go ahead and start out by just drawing this long box. You don't really have to draw a long box. You can just draw right on your paper, and that's okay. Without the box, you'll see kind of what I mean in a second. Start with the white side or the black side, or the darkest side, I mean. So I'm going to start with the darkest side, and I'm pushing down with my pencil, but I'm pushing down with the side of my pencil. And that way, I won't be pushing too hard into the paper, and my lead will be able to move around. So I'm going to start with the darkest, and then I'm going to lighten up on the pushing and not push so hard. Push a little bit lighter as I go down toward the white. So I'm just letting up my pencil a little bit, and then I'm going to let up a little bit more. So push a little bit lighter on my pencil, and then even lighter, pushing even lighter on my pencil, lighter still. Okay, now I'm hardly pushing at all. Closer I get to white. All right, and that's not blended very nicely, so I'm going to go ahead and fix this a little bit. And then a little trick that I like to do, so after I, touch it up with my pencil a little bit, I can take a paper towel and I can blend nice and smoothly with my paper towel. You can see I erased a little bit there, so I erased a little bit where the white should be because I noticed that it wasn't too white. So there's my paper towel. You can see I'm just folding it like that. And then I'm going to start on the dark side, and I'm going to push my dark lead down. You see how I'm doing it just one way, just down to the white. So this is, again, practice for our spheres in a little bit. All right. And don't worry if yours doesn't look perfect. Mine doesn't look that perfect to start with. So I'm going to keep working on mine a little bit. But the more that I practice, the better that it gets, right? The more we practice and the more we touch things up, the better our art looks. All right, we are ready to start our spheres. The first thing that I'm going to do is draw 3 circles. After I've drawn my spheres, I'm going to go ahead and draw my light source for my first sphere. So there's the sun, the arrow is, and the sun are up and to the left side. So this will be a light side. And down here, across from that, will be the shadow side. So I'm going to go ahead and draw with my pencil, and I want this to be a dark value. So the darkest value, and then I might just get a little bit lighter, but I'm going to keep that mostly my darkest value, just like that. And you can see how I made that in the round shape. I made that around the sphere. And so you want that to be that nice round shading. All right, so you can see I've got my paper towel just like I had it in the practice, and I'm just going to create those values, the change in values with my paper towel, and I'm just going to rub it again in that round direction, so in the shape of the sphere. And I'm going to keep on rubbing, keep on blending until it looks realistic. So it might take a while. You just have to be patient with it. So you can see my light and my dark side. So now on my dark side, I'm going to go ahead and add my shadow underneath my sphere. Because the sun is coming from this direction, across from it, we're going to create that shadow coming out. So the middle sphere, I'm going to go ahead and draw the sun right over the top. And so just draw this arrow to show where the light is hitting. And across from that is the shadow side. So I'm going to go ahead and darken the shadow side in the shape, rounded shape of the sphere. I'm just touching this up a little bit here. All right, so let me go ahead and shade around the bottom half of the sphere with a dark value. And then we'll lighten it with our paper towel in a moment here. Again, just using the side of my pencil to add the value. We don't want to use the tip of the pencil because that will push too much into the paper. So just using the edge of our pencil, the side of our pencil. Okay, again, we're going to take our paper towel and go ahead and rub over our lead. And we're going to rub where our lead was and then up in that rounded direction. It's going to pull the lead up with it. And if you have kind of a rough transition, just keep on working with it until it looks pretty smooth. All right, we're ready for our shadow. Because that sun is directly overhead, we're going to go ahead and put our shadow right underneath our sphere. And you want it to be about as wide or a little bit wider than the sphere. All right, our last sphere. So for this one, we're going to come from the upper right side. So go ahead and my arrow to see where my light is coming from. And I'll add my line to the shadow side and fill that in with my dark value. You all know the gist now. So this is just like our sphere on the left side, only it's the right side. So go ahead and color around the outside corner and then blend. And then if it doesn't look nice, then keep working on it until you're happy with it. Last but not least, we'll add our shadow across from the light source and under the darkest part. And the darkest part of the shadow should really be is the closest to the figure. So I'm going to make sure that that's darkest, and then I can lighten it toward the end of the shadow. Makes it even more realistic. All right, artists, so I hope that you enjoyed this lesson about value. So remember, value is the lightness or darkness of a color. Today we created different values by pressing hard with our pencil and then lightening it up. And we also did some blending. So pretty neat stuff. So when you're doing your drawing from now on, try to think about where the light is coming from. Think about where those highlights would be. Where would the lightest place be on whatever you're drawing? Where would the shadows be? All right, so I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you all next time. Bye, friends.